It was an unseasonably warm autumn afternoon when Karen, the neighborhood's notorious HOA tyrant, decided my latest project had crossed some invisible line in her mind. I had been renovating a section of my yard and, after careful planning, decided to build a fence far taller than usual, not to block anyone, but to create privacy for my family. The design was fully compliant with all HOA regulations, but Karen, as usual, saw it as a personal affront. I was in the midst of placing the final panels when I noticed her storming across the street, phone in hand, looking ready to call the police. "Your fence is too high," she shouted across the yard, her voice shrill enough to alert the neighbors. "It's blocking views. It's dangerous. You have to tear it down immediately." I wiped my hands and stepped onto the walkway, maintaining calm. "Karen, the fence is legal. All permits and HOA approvals are in place. I have the documentation right here." I held up a folder with approvals, emails, and dated photographs. She squinted at me, as if the folder were meaningless. "That doesn't matter. I don't care about your papers. This is an eyesore, and I will not allow it." I sighed. It was clear she had no intention of reasoning. Her idea of justice relied solely on intimidation and dramatic complaints. So I decided to let the situation escalate in a controlled manner, documenting every moment. I began recording her tirade on my phone, noting timestamps and neighbors' witness statements. Karen, frustrated by my calm demeanor, decided to escalate further. She picked up her phone and dialed 911, claiming that the fence was a public hazard and that authorities needed to intervene immediately. Within minutes, a patrol car pulled up and 2 officers approached, ready to assess the situation. Karen turned to the officers, waving her arms. "See? I told you. This fence is illegal. It's a hazard." I calmly stepped forward, presenting the documentation. "Officer, the fence is fully approved by the HOA and complies with all local ordinances. I have photographs, permits, and email approvals. Karen's complaint is baseless." The officers reviewed the materials carefully, nodding as they compared measurements against local codes. "Ma'am," one officer said to Karen, "do you have any documentation that this fence violates the law?" Karen faltered. "Well, no, but it's too high." The officer shook his head. "Without legal proof, this complaint is baseless. Further false reporting can result in fines or legal action." Karen's face turned bright red with anger and embarrassment. She sputtered, then stormed back to her car, muttering threats under her breath. The officers gave me a polite nod and advised me to continue documenting any further incidents. Over the next few weeks, Karen attempted minor complaints via email and phone calls, but each one was met with careful documentation and HOA intervention. The HOA issued a stern warning, making it clear that repeated false complaints and harassment could result in substantial fines and suspension of privileges. Neighbors who had witnessed the drama expressed quiet admiration for my calm, methodical handling of the situation. Karen, it seemed, had finally met her match. Someone who could neutralize her theatrics with patience, preparation, and evidence. Reflecting on the ordeal, I realized the fence had become more than a simple barrier. It was a symbol of resilience and persistence. Karen had attempted to assert control, intimidate, and bully, but preparation and calm reasoning had ensured that her actions backfired. By the time the leaves turned completely golden, the fence stood tall and secure, my privacy intact, and Karen's credibility diminished. The incident reinforced the lesson that while entitlement and aggression may appear powerful, they crumble when confronted with patience, documentation, and calm composure. Sitting on my porch one evening, sipping tea and watching the sunlight filter through the trees, I felt a deep sense of satisfaction. Karen had tried to assert her power, call authorities, and create chaos, but her efforts had failed spectacularly. My family's privacy was protected, the fence remained undisturbed, and the victory over yet another HOA tantrum was absolute.